Jesu untikani, Jesu untikani. Hello. Dumelang. Welcome. Welcome guys. Something quick, fast, J, without any waste of time. Welcome. You are welcome. Man, Youth Month is over. Youth Month is over. And the past month, I actually had a lot of discussions with young people and engaged with them. And one of the things, when we even look at 1976 ISSD, the 1976 issue, and you look at our history, there is this thing that is less talked about, the traumas, because we love to talk about DNA and how DNA is like the blueprint where I get where I come from, or I certain traits gets transferred to me. But we don't look at this in terms of emotions and feelings that we inherit from one generation to the other. To an extent that I felt like during my talks, I needed to apologize to young people, to say, young people, let me apologize on behalf of my generation, the generation before me, and the generation of my grandmothers, because feelings were something that was not even talked about. Number one. Number two, it's even things that even us professionals, most of the time we don't look at those things to say, before we can come to your current challenges, can we for a minute visit your lineage? Let's visit there. We only do it when it comes to hypertension, diabetes, chronic illnesses, to say, your mother had hypertension, so you are at high risk. The truth is, even with traumas, is the same. It's the same. Sometimes we are saying we are an angry nation, we fight a lot and all of that. And most of that, I do believe, it's generational. It's things that we have inherited. So question today is the series is about the legacy project. It's about that. And hi, Uncle T, to say, is it learned or is it genes, or is it inherited? So that's today, I think, what we will sort of try to unpack, to say some of the things we need to look at them. Some of the demons we are struggling with, we need to seriously sit down and reflect, or did I go and pick this up, or is it something that was in the blueprint? Is it something that was in the genes when I was when I came to this world? So that is why we are asking that question, or is it learned, or is it something that you have inherited. So, like I said, over the next few weeks, we will be looking at, exploring some things that, many families don't talk about, like generational traumas, family patterns, healing, and getting to, the legacies that we leave behind, to be actually very considerate about those things. So the question is that we should start with ourselves individually, like Coach would say, me, myself, and I. What is it that I have inherited from my family besides the surname? Yes, I am Khatu, but what else have I inherited? What else have I been given? So, in the soul, from the soul perspective, and because the physical we've spoken about a lot. Did I inherit courage? Did I inherit fear? Did I inherit healthy relationships? That's another one. Did I inherit constant conflict? Did I inherit abundance? Living in abundance, or did I inherit scarcity mindset? Did I even inherit slavery mentality or kingship mentality? All of those things. Did I inherit victimhood? Did I even inherit poverty? People will be more, they will align more with when we say poverty. But abundance, did I inherit abundance, or did I inherit the mindset of scarcity? I don't have, So it's going to be a very interesting reflection and series, I think. So we and yeah. Certain things are written in the will. When people die, this is a very interesting one. When we write our wills, we only write about material things, or my children will inherit this of mine, these are the properties, this is the money I have. But I'm yet to hear people saying, in my parents' will, or in my father's will or my grandparents' will, they actually also wrote the non-touchable things that I'm inheriting from them. Am I inheriting trauma? Am I inheriting fear? Am I in even the spirits that we are inheriting? Things like sexual molestation, rape, gender-based violence, being violated. It's amazing how when we come to a point of disclosure, maybe you disclose that, to your parent, this and this happened to me. I was raped. You were not aware. I kept quiet. And when you talk, then you get that, oh, okay, I was also raped. This one was also raped. And you see that there is most a pattern in this family. Why is there, because then it's spiritual. There is that thing. I'll tell you about my story, which I realized last week. Because last week we actually went and did a fasting prayer on your identity. Who am I? To understand that. And we dwelled deep into, I'm a spirit, I possess a soul, and those things are hosted by this body. And one of the things that I realized in my identity was that one where, hey, Bana, there is this pattern. There is this pattern, patterns that happens in the family. Things like women, single women, things like divorce, it's patterns, it's those patterns that happen, and it's things that we hardly talk about. And even when we get married, we into families, we do not actually get to talk about that, to say, in this family that I'm marrying into, what are the generational traumas or generational patterns that are there within this family? Because those are the things I'm also taking up without being aware. It's going to be very interesting, because last week when I actually then sat down, I realized that there are traumas that were not even me who picked them up. It's things that were there, it's things that were in the family. And stupidly, for example, the issue of rape, the issue of sexual violence. You look at the family history to say, okay, when you look at, your parents' generation, you look at your grandparents' generation, you look at the generation before that, Hori, Hebana. In other words, and how, because my sense about it, when I saw that this thing is a pattern, was that okay, when you are born with this clear slate. You know nothing, but the spirit is in you. The ka Sesotho we call it tlhaka eo, it's in you. And because the devil doesn't want to lose, there was an altar that was erected whenever these traumas happened. There's a spirit behind them. So in there being a spirit behind them, the spirits will, with whatever incident that happens, then an altar is erected. And an altar, it's something that always needs to be renewed. The covenant, I care where there's an altar, there's a covenant, like we've been saying in our previous. So that covenant needs renewal. It needs renewal. That is why believers always do Holy Communion, because that's renewal of the vows with their Maker. So that altar needs to be always serviced. So when a child is born, they are clean, they are innocent, basically. So what does the devil do? He is going to bring this trauma, this traumatic experience to this newborn child, however old you are, that this thing, because it has to continue from one generation to the other, the altar needs to be serviced. And I just happen to be a victim to an altar that was erected long time ago. So not that you called it, but you are collateral damage. Let me call it that way. innocently without you knowing. When you now unpack this thing and you get into the history, you realize that, my goodness, actually there was an altar that was built here. And that altar, I happened to be the one, or one of the many, because that gets, to become collateral damage to this thing that it happened to me. Many divorce, when no one gets married to be divorced. But when you're there, however, let me not say bad, because it cancels whatever that I said before. Then you go, you visit family history. Man, let me look into this thing. So before our eyes open, before we get to the stage of wisdom, we don't know these things. We don't know them. Hey, whatever, there's also another altar of divorce in my family. So how do I put myself in a position where I'm not going to service that altar, and you can't enter into these things blindly, guys. You cannot. You have to enter them being eyes wide open, because when I got married with my first marriage, I was not even aware that divorce might be something that is actually an altar that was erected, and me, without me being aware, and of course getting into marriage and not being aware of the demon I'm coming with into this marriage. Because honestly, the person I married, the parents stayed together until one passed away. So it was till death do us part. So the divorce altar, I came with it. And not being aware was, did I go into that marriage 1 foot in, 1 foot? I didn't. I came in it 2 feet, even embedded myself, my whole body, my soul, my spirit, everything, and operated in it with my own wisdom, without God, of course, which is what led to its demise. Because when you are fighting these things, you cannot come with your own intelligence or your books or your certificates. You need a higher being. So that's one of those things that I now, in the journey that I'm in, I had to be aware of, and make sure that I deal with those altars, because you don't need to go and consult anybody. You can do your own history and do your own research. So just a question, because I see we are many here. Can you just type for me, finish this sentence? Growing up in my family, we always, hi coach, example, we never talked about feelings. We worked hard. We never trusted people. We always helped others. We kept everything inside. So finish the sentence for me. Growing up in my family, we always, what is it, that thing that that you are aware of, that you can actually finish the sentence with? For me, I know hard work was the thing. Growing up in my family, hard work was a thing. Growing up in my family, helping people was a thing. always, even if when now you are left with nothing, helping people was that thing. Trust, it was an issue. We did not trust people. Fear was the thing. So I think those are some of the things that come up in my head quickly. So what was it? What was it? Growing up, helping people was a thing. I even thought our house was a hospital. That's what coach is saying. Or growing up, our house was like a mini hospital. When people had to come for deliveries, it was coming to our home. When people were sick, it was come and be better at our home. So it was like it was a hospital. So it's coming into a place of awareness where, hey, I was not aware that when we grew up, this was actually something that was in the family. So that's what the question was all about. So what do we inherit? What do we inherit? We usually think, like I said before, inheritance is only just money or properties or a surname. But what if there's also the invisible that we are inheriting? Because all these things, it's things that are visible. But then there's also the invisible that gets inherited. Yes, so we didn't talk about feelings and emotions. So these are the things that are not in the will, like I said, but they are invisible. And I don't even think when somebody is doing a will, they think about them. But they are past. The invisible things, values. Values get passed from one generation to another because they are part of what we call culture. Culture is the way of life, and values, traditions, beliefs, habits, all of those things, they get transferred from one generation to the other. Emotional responses. Sometimes we think the way that we respond, it's just how we are or how we got to learn things. Compartmentalizing things was a standard. There were no boxes that were never touched. So for example, I was on the issue of the emotional responses. I remember for me, always whether I'm hurt or I'm like in a corner, for example, maybe I'm hurt or I'm in trouble, whatever, whether positive or negative, in terms of emotions, I always laugh. I even love crying. And this is an inherited emotional response because my father was like that. He laughed for anything and everything. So most of my emotions and my feelings, I hide them in my locker to an extent that you would think, okay, this person is fine, but it's actually me actually, crying. You won't know. Even when I'm upset, you will see me laughing and you think, she's okay. So that's the mask. I call it the mask. So the mask of emotional response that I've learned is that one. The other one is hard work. Whenever I'm in a corner, I embed myself in work. In my work, I work. That's the emotional response that I learned and inherited, in fact. Our parenting styles, we learned how to parent through how we saw our parents learn and parent us, and we think that okay, this is how I am. 80% of your parenting is based on how you were raised by your own parents. Communication style, coping mechanisms, we some people like, they don't like conflict, they run away from conflict, or whenever you saying let's talk, it's all about that hurry, hey, let's, because we're gonna argue. And sometimes it's from trauma, to say peace at all costs. So let me not argue with anyone. You are right. So my automatic response is walking away. Ours, because we were raised by an iron lady, somebody who was confrontational. Ours is confrontation. Some of us, not all of us, because others learned to close their flowers and be in a cocoon because there was too much arguing. So it's walk away. And yeah, sometimes I do that. I walk away, I keep quiet. And it's not even walking away. I call it sulking, because you are not expressing your true emotions. You are just saying, it's okay, I have nothing to say. It's sulking, in fact. We sulk. Uncle T, I see you are here.
Doc,
Yeah. Either way, walking away, confronting, it's things that we learned along the way, with regard to dealing with conflict. So yeah, welcome, Uncle T.
thank you, Dr. Rene. Everybody, it's
You
been a
are
while.
unmute, but I can't hear you. I don't know.
I'm not sure what's going on now. Can you hear me?
Is it your mic? Okay.
I think it's my mic. Can you hear me though?
Go
now?
out and come back again, maybe.
Okay.
How? You can hear him. You. Let me see. My volume is up. Okay, they say they can hear you.
Oh, okay. Kwena fela. But yeah,
yeah, give me follow, yeah? And
the
my
topic
Bluetooth is not on, so I don't know.
I don't know as well. But yeah, not to waste time. The topic of
give me a thumbs up, okay? When you are done talking, because I can't hear you at all.
Yo. Anyway, guys, this very topic of generational trauma, for me,
so
it
the problem is on my side.
Speaks to this.
Next.
Oh, let me try and go out and then try and come back in.
Who requested? Okay. Let's see if we can hear you, Coach.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, La Familia. How are you?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. I wanted to come in while you were still there to just check if you can hear me and you can't hear him, because we can hear him clearly. I didn't want to come up. I'm a listening student today, because this that you are talking about, generational traumas, it opens a whole can of worms. Last week, I had an encounter of something that I thought, me being me. When you are dealing with things and unpacking things and going through stuff, you go through things and you think, "Okay, I'm done. This is a door that has been closed and whatever." And then all of a sudden you have a flashback of something that you were not even thinking about or not expecting. And then I was like, okay, it just reminded me, or it was just a checkup to see how far are you with your healing.
Yes.
Sister Rennie, can you hear me now?
There, I can hear you very well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great stuff.
All right.
Great stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Continue. I'm going down. My phone is flat. I just came back from somewhere, so yeah, I'll be listening.
All
Sure.
right. Yeah.
Aware.
Away my second.
Yes, Uncle Chi.
Yeah, as I was saying, Doc, for me, it basically what are you made up of? You or me as Uncle T. My construct inside my soul, what is it made up of? Because it is made up of two parts, that of my father, that of my mother. Now, these two individuals, where do they come from? What are they made up of? Because as soon as you start understanding the origin of your source, being your parents in this case, it then becomes easier to understand why it is that a particular thing makes you feel or gives you a certain emotional response, perhaps anger, perhaps fear, perhaps joy. It can be anything, but we always often overlook this fact. We want to put I would say not a label as such, but we want to box it in a category without having the full understanding to say that, oh no, I'm a melancholy type simply because of the environment that I find myself in. I'm always depressed. There's nothing going wrong. But when you go back and you look, you will find that your energy is not that. It's not made up of that. You have simply allowed the environment to subjugate you into being in a certain way. You allow, because it's always about choice. We don't think it is.
Yeah, it's about choice, but also there are things you are not aware of. I was not aware that divorce was a pattern. It was a pattern in my family. I was not aware of that.
Yes, I get
Innocently, after now doing investigations, after and hindsight, now I'm divorced.
of course,
and I'm visiting I call them the graves. That's what I call them. I call them the emotional graves that are not visible. We can't see them.
ke behe so wena doctor, akere in a medical situation, motho ko wa collapse, ha ho tsejwe hore na ho etsahetseng. The life is no longer there, but because it is extinguished, akere, then they do what? They go back ho etsuwa an autopsy to try and shed light basically on what is happening internal, because it might be an internal thing.
Yeah.
Then it's there more things are discovered when they dig a little deeper. So
Yeah.
our thing, ne, and I fully agree with you to saying that a lot of the things we are not aware of. So
Yeah.
to me, it is a thing of there is a light, ne, but it is very narrow. It's shining only where it can. Only when you start moving the light around do you then start getting a picture of, oh, okay, there's something there in the corner, it's something, and I move the light, and then you start getting a makeup of the room. It's the same with us internally. Our lights, and hangata, we take that on to saying that, oh, my light is only sufficient for this. We are scared to move it around within, as you are saying, the grave, to go deeper and find out, oh, okay, I see that there is a grave here marked. It's a relationship grave. How did that grave come about? Did I do the investigation to fully understand and prevent future deaths or future graves, let me put it that way, from occurring? So within us as well, why there are patterns is because not enough work was done to shine light so that you are able to fully understand that, okay, in my room there's a mirror, a bed, and a wardrobe. In someone else's mirrors, in someone else's room, when you start shining light, you find that there is a TV, there's a missing window, there's a small place too, there's a bookshelf, there's this, there's that. It's different for everyone, but we don't want we are not given that information to saying it is okay to shine light. Why? Because there's the environmental aspect of it, the family aspect of it. Like I was my comment earlier, which was saying compartmentalization, where growing up was a standard thing. You dealt with something when it came up. If it never came up, you put the box away. You don't even touch it. You know? So things like that. You then grow up with it, you walk with it and saying that, oh, okay, no. For me, growing up, this was a norm. For someone else, it's not. A pattern. Your kids learn it because it's also a monkey see, monkey do, as you are saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Growing, you see your parent, you see your father having an interaction with your mother, but the interaction is such that your father is not really expressing himself to saying, this is how I feel. It's more of a silent conversation, like one worded answer, but it is loaded. You can feel that as a child that the response is loaded, but there's no words or many words that are being expressed. The other party, on the other hand, is fully going in and colorful and in their vocabulary and in expressing. And you're sitting and you're saying, and for a boy child, it's, oh, okay, this is how you respond to that. For a girl child, it's to get your way, you must do that. And it might be vice versa. And these, as you're saying, patterns, they start emerging and they start in the home, then they go, as your children are going out and you are going out, it becomes a norm. You introduce it to the world, it becomes a culture. But it all started where? In us not going, instead of going outwardly, we need to go inward.
Yeah.
Like I always say, always investigate. Like I say, simple thing, I don't like ice cream.
Well,
It
I fully
is
agree with you. I do agree with you. What I'm saying here is until you come somebody, that's why people are so much into therapy. A lot of people are going for therapy right now. Because we did not grow up talking emotions. Because our parents were not, and they were also, that's what they also inherited, or it gets
Yes.
buried under the table. If you were raped, if you were abused, if you were done not as a child, and you, whatever that happened, everything gets well. And I understand them. I'm also not blaming them. I'm not blaming them, because
Same here.
that generation, the generations before us, their focus was in surviving. Their job was, we need to survive. It was their sole focus. So their nervous system was always fight or flight, freeze. And I can't deal with. Let me take it and put it there. Frown. All of those responses, the nervous system responses, they did not have time to deal with emotions, unpack and blah blah and blah, because they did not. I mean, mental health vocabulary, nje, we don't have it. So right now we find ourselves, this generation, dealing with our children who don't have to survive. And because they didn't have to survive, they are asking us questions we don't have answers to.
Yeah.
We don't have answers to them because we never had to visit those graves. And this is the reason, YM and all other organizations are doing work like this to make people aware you are not crazy. You're not crazy. And you did not do this deliberately, because soul work, even with counseling, whenever people go for counseling, all that happens is, oh, okay, you are struggling with this issue, let's deal with it. Not dealing with a human in totality, or this person is a spirit, they possess a soul, and those things are what we now see, but there's a lot of the unseen. So unless there is this awareness, because everywhere where I went, when I mentioned the word generational traumas, people were like, they found, they were shocked, or my good, I never thought of this thing this way. So now we are starting to heal the soul, because a lot of things, that the fruits that we are focusing on, the fruits, the societal ills, the individual ills, the family ills that we are dealing with now, we're looking at all these fruits, but the fruits are caused by what is inside the tree, what is inside the roots. Because the roots is what we're talking about now, Hore. What is inside of this roots? And some people are not even aware that, hey, so today, after this live today, and the series as a whole, because this is going to be a series, they will now go back and first reflect, because don't just kupuka and you go and talk to your parents, because you might not get the answers that you are looking for.
There's also that. There's also that.
Go do your homework. Go do your homework, because we say eternity is in you. So when you do your work as an eternity inside of you, you will get to the answers that you want. And I don't want to like, who is user mama? Tell me if it's a mistake. Whoever requested to join, tell me if it's a mistake or you really want to join, so that I can put you in the discussion. So what you were talking about now was the question: is it nature? Is it nurture? Which one is it?
I will
whatever
put
that
it
I'm
this way.
seeing myself, we're gonna unpack it before we go to the
Fair.
conclusion. Yeah. Before you say I've learned to this kind of emotional response. I laugh at everything, even when I want to cry, I laugh. Is it a land? Is it nature, or is it nurture? Which one is it? And there is always that debate. For decades, people are arguing that. And that is why those that have not done the work, those that have not done the work, you will hear them by their response to say, hi, le rona we had to survive. I survive, Lina, I was grangulat, I was raped, I was beaten, I was abused, and here I am. That's an unhealed response. That response tells me that now when you go and ask questions and somebody says to you, why do you want to know? Why must you visit things that happened long time ago? It's because this person does not want to visit those internal graves, the heart grave or the mind grave, wherever the grave is. They don't want to visit that. And therefore, it's easy to, and that's why there is so much blame as well. Afternoon, Gogo. There's so much blame, even with the issue of substance abuse, to say, yeah, these kids, they have it all. They don't know what they want. But as parents, we don't want to take accountability and responsibility to say, in honest fact, a child who grew up seeing alcohol, you tell your child don't take alcohol, but when 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and on Sunday, you are busy already with your first bottle, but then you are saying to the child, don't do it. Nini, we were children, we know these things happen. We were stealing the bottle. What is left in the bottle? You are tasting that alcohol. And eventually, the half a glass is no longer enough. You go to the bottle, the full bottle now. They send you for a case. A case, it's 12 months. So they're not going to see when they are now drowsy that you have actually taken out one bottle. And that you are now learning the taste of alcohol in abundance. Then the second one, you now develop a new pattern. You are a liar now. You are a liar. You are a thief. Three things have happened in one thing that they have actually introduced to you. Cigarette smoking. You grow up in a house where people are smoking or somebody is smoking. That child, there is a very high risk that this child is going to end up smoking, because already it was in the DNA, whether in the seed or in the incubator, one of the two. Whether it's smoking, whether it's alcohol, it was in the DNA, it was there. So if it was there when I'm born, it's in my DNA. I can relate with it. That's why you'll see a very small child, you put drops of alcohol, because the taste bud is used to it. They were drinking that alcohol inside the stomach, and then it's a taste that is familiar to them. And that child growing up, it's not even going to be difficult to convince to take alcohol for them. It was in there. So nature and nurture. And You were right. The truth is both of them. Both of them help us. We inherit it through the DNA of our parents. We also learn it by watching people, how they solve problems, how they communicate. Like you are saying, you grow up, you see your father avoiding, and you think, oh, okay, as a man, I should not argue. I must just walk away or say, all right, Msadwaka, it's okay. Whatever you say, it's okay. How we deal with anger, the emotion of anger and the feeling of anger, because those are two things. Handling disappointment. How do we deal with disappointment? How do we deal with failure? You know, was failure even a thing? For example, for me, failure was not a thing growing up. So whatever I was doing, I had to succeed in it. And when failure came, it shattered me. It
Yeah, it's
shattered
devastation.
me
Yeah, you're
because
weak. Yes.
no, I dropped the standard.
Mm. Mm. And that's why you will find sometimes we to an overachiever, and even though they've achieved so much, they are so miserable. Ka lebaka fela leno, as
Yes,
an example,
yes,
enana ya hore the nervous system adapted such that, or in a way mo e leng hore it is always primed for hore it must succeed.
yeah,
Without that dosage of dopamine
yeah,
delivered
yeah,
by that specifically success, or I have achieved, I have conquered, I have I have overcome, and yes, I have shown my strength and capability in a way of winning.
yeah,
Let me put it that way.
yeah,
Everything else is a failure. Anything other than that is a failure. And then you start now encountering your depressions. You start
yeah,
encountering
yes,
the other coping
yes,
mechanisms now, the
yes,
pretenses, because there's no balance. There's always been winning. There's never been a process whereby a supposed failure, or let me say the lesson, is introduced to saying, oh, this is what you need to learn in order to further appreciate success. So for
yes,
me,
exactly, exactly.
it's that why when you ask the question, nature or nature, I said both, and that there are some traits, yes, and patterns that we acquire ourselves through our
Yes,
experiences and
yes,
interactions with the world.
certainly.
And then there are those that are programmed already. You come standard with the package. You have them
Yes,
coming from where your parents. Now the learned ones, they can either be of benefit or of detriment to you, depending on whether or not you understand the inherited ones. As like you're saying, you might come from a family that was drinking, for instance, and to you the taste of alcohol is something that is familiar and it's not foreign. It's bitter, yes, because you're still young and the taste buds are still adjusting. But given also the environment, if you are in an environment that you are every day exposed to alcohol, uh, in whatever form, does
yeah,
it not make sense, because you already have the hardware to process it within you? Now you want to taste, like you're saying, you start off kalapanakis,
yeah,
then the cap is not enough, you now start delving into
yeah,
a shot becomes a
exactly.
glass becomes a bottle.
Yeah,
and
and
it
then it's
and
not
it's not
longer enough.
yes, and because now it has evolved just as you evolve. the demon or the grave or whatever is undealt with evolves with you because it adapts to the new environment so
Yes,
that it
it does.
survives because it's
Yeah.
an organism, guys. Anything that you, because it's energy, I get we are understanding that the things that we are dealing with are energy ultimate, whether
Yeah.
physical or not, they are energy ultimate. So there is no way whereby you are going to encounter a stronger energy because this is what it is. It has had time to fester. You have
Yeah.
shut, or let me not say you have shut your mind off to its presence. That thing, that of shining around and exploring your room within you to saying, I have this, oh, I have this rotting thing in this place, I need to go and deal with it. You just leave it there. Or you don't know it's there because you didn't move your light around or shine around and explore. Now it's coming up. Now it is taking over. When you shine, you find, oh, yo, okay, this is the source. And by that time, it's now become something else because it
Yeah.
has had time. Wow, you
Exactly.
get
It
me.
it
This is
festered
it.
now.
Yes. That's why
Yeah.
it will
When it's
be
in your roots.
difficult for some people to say, hi, for me, it's difficult because my grandfather drank, my father drank, so I must drink as well. And this would, that example would ring true when it comes to men and their interaction with women. No, my grandfather, my great grandfather was a polygamist. His son was a polygamist. My father was a so naturally I must be a polygamist. You, okay, sharp. They had a love and appreciation for women. Does it mean, Uguti, you have the same degree of appreciation such that you are taking on 2 to 5 women at the, it might not be that. And we don't want to be honest with that. We fall and then you fall and then you blame. No, this thing of our understand. And not
Yeah.
understanding, not only, like I say, and I will always say this, the background, but the foreground as well, meaning you're the foreground now. The background is where you come from and your experiences and all of that. The foreground is now you, what people see, what people experience, and
Mm.
how they experience that is based off of how much you understand about yourself. Because if you are going to mutter the words, I know myself, with confidence and without having done the work, you it means you are still yet to start.
Yeah. And homework for what I want to give people that are watching and those that will watch for this first part is go back, visit start with the things you are struggling with. Start there, because those are easy. And ask yourself, what is this nature or nurture? Look at the patterns in both sides. If you know, if you do know, if you don't know, there's always that uncle you are close to or that aunt. Because that's what we did when we started this journey. That's what we did. We had questions, and we knew that some of these questions are very uh, uncomfortable. So we went to people that we trusted and said, look, I'm on a journey of discovery. This is what I've been asking myself, and can you help me, so that you can understand, did I bring this? Because also, not forgetting, everything has a boss, meaning
Absolutely.
everything has either it has a spiritual root. Everything,
There's a source.
whatever it
Everything has
is,
a source.
it
Yes.
has. a root, and that root is very spiritual. So we go visit that and honestly look at it and so that you can begin your journey. Now, here is another spin to things. Just when you think maybe you are a victim, you are not, because like Uncle T said, there's a thing called choice. And again, the issue of choice, it's not just me saying I have a choice. It's also genetic. It's also genetic. There is a very interesting concept, and which is why now there's so much research on genes and stem cells, what people are calling stem cells. That's why there is so much research going into that, because there's a term in the world of genetics. It's called epigenetics. Epigenetics. Yes, the blueprint has all of these things on it, but then there is a thing embedded in you, embedded within your genes. It's called epigenetics. So we know about the DNA, but DNA is like the library, if I can explain it. DNA is like the library. Genes are like books, different books. There's all these
The
books.
epigenetics are
And
like the
then
authors.
epigenetics are like the librarian. They are like the librarian. I carry you visit the library. Here are different kinds of books in the library. But then there is the librarian. The librarian helps you. You say, man, I'm looking for a book. Like we did yesterday, we were looking for a book. Yeah, 1652.
Yo.
So the librarian will actually, help and say, okay, man, this book it's actually good for your research. This book is actually, so they help with regard to which books are opened and which ones should actually stay closed. That's what epigenetics are. Or man, you don't need to open that book. Because people in your family had hypertension. This is what people can identify with most commonly. Hypertension is in the family. Diabetes is in the family. Just because your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-great had that, it does not mean you have to end with it.
Yes.
You are predisposed. Even when we do these conditions in school, it is saying factors that predispose to these chronic conditions. It's history of hypertension. It does not mean you're going to have it.
Yeah.
Because in you, there is the librarian, the epigenetics that where you have the choice. So even with behavior, with attitude, with lifestyle, it's your choice. You choose which books to open, which books should remain closed. No, so that is why eventually I do not blame the environment I grew up in, to say, hey, Rona, we grew up seeing people drinking alcohol, and we also grew up in an environment where we went to church every Sunday. And we saw people not drinking alcohol, and people never having tested alcohol. We exposed we opened the library of books which were talking were about alcohol. We opened it. So in our genes, we could choose, or we don't want to expose our DNA, our genes to this. We don't want to, but we chose to do that. So Gogo always has a nice saying as well. Yes, DNA, it's like, yes, it predisposes you, but it's like you are born with the bullets. It's up to you whether you have the bullet and the gun, but the shooting of that gun, it's your decision. You choose to shoot, to load it, and to even shoot. You were given the gun and the bullets. They are there. That's the
For sure.
DNA.
And
But the
also,
loading and the shooting, it's you. It's all on you.
and that the nice thing about this, and it's, for me, it's funny in that we we forget quickly, as people, because the very things that we're talking about, we get exposed to them from a very young the uncle or the father or the mother or the aunt or the grandmother or grandfather who drank. You were exposed to that. You saw how that person was when they were drunk, as opposed to when they were not drunk. So you have full information now. Like I say, and this is me not being insensitive, guys, please understand me. This is me just giving the uncomfortable truth, I guess. In that shop, you saw how they were under the influence, whether it be alcohol or drugs or whatever it may be the case. You have full information. Now growing up, all of a sudden you've forgotten now, or by some reason it doesn't apply to you. How is that? Because it's all you know. That's what you're going to reference.
Yeah.
Why are you overlooking that and looking outward and saying, no, I'm going to live my life as this and this person? Whether you look outside, what you are going to be using lies within you, and you are still going to be, it's going to be modeled around what you know. So why don't you just spend that time in finding out what it is that you do have?
Yeah, and I think this gives hope to a lot of people who for the longest time people always thought the DNA, and now we realize that our story is bigger than the DNA. You can change the situation. It is not, DNA is not your destiny. It just because your parents died poor or died in a place of non-abundance, it does not mean you have to die like that. No, you can change it yourself. So DNA is not your destiny. That's basically what we're trying to say. You still have what, and sometimes we're saying, oh, but it's behavior. Now science is saying, science, not even me. It's not my opinion. Science is saying there's epigenetics. And that's why they are doing all this research on stem cells and even curing things like cancer for people who have money by taking clean stem cells that do not have the cancer thing to instead them on people so that they can regenerate new organs. And yeah, we're still gonna unpack this a whole lot. But the good news is you do have, an option to opt out through your epigenetics. The library is there, the books are there, but you don't have to open all the books. You have a choice because the librarian, which is epigenetics, is there to help you to say, no, book, you don't have to open. It's not for you. Now, learned behaviors. Let's differentiate because we spoke about things that are learned and things that are, inherited. So we can't just talk about nature and not talk about nurture. Learned behaviors. What did you learn? That's a question. Example, I learned that, you don't cry because whenever you cried, you would get a hiding. I learned that weakness is not an option. And what is being weak? Being weak, it's failure. Being weak is not having answers to questions that you have. Being weak is whatever it means. Men don't show emotions. You always have to be strong. Rich people are greedy. The black book that we grew up with as black people. We learned our riches is in heaven. Even if I'm poor here, our riches is in heaven. So the future, the next life is always gonna be better than this life, helping people to an extent that when you are drained, you have to give it your all. As black people, when you succeed, you can't just succeed alone. You have to take your people with. You have to be apologetic about your success. Things like that. So these are things that we learn. Ngwanaka, o ska ba leka wa siya that person. Wherever you go with them. Ngwanaka, remember your people behind. You'll even get threats. Yeah, as you climb that ladder, remember there are people holding it for you. So if when you come back, on your way back, they will not be there. So you get threatened, and therefore you become apologetic about your successes. And that is why some of us ended up, in red, in a lot of trouble, because I worked to give myself life where I could take myself on a holiday, me and my family on a holiday. But what did I do? No, I can't be going to Durban alone. I find myself taking 50 people on a holiday. How insane is that? And then you come back, you've depleted all your resources because you had to make other people's dreams come true. Once it's fine because it's part of education to show people who you can. You don't have to die the way you were born. But when it now becomes a norm and it even becomes an expectation, no, it's December, where are we going? And when you ask, what are you putting on the table? There's nothing on the table. That was insane. That's insane because now you are being apologetic about your success and the life that you built for yourself, as if no one had equal opportunity. So those are the learned behaviors. Or there's no success alone. I can't succeed alone. Why not? Why not? Because you
Why
made a
not?
choice. You made a choice.
And
So,
yes,
yeah.
on that, sorry, sister, doctor, on that
Mm.
particular note of success, and this is where I think as black people we get hung up in that thing of now we are measuring success according to something. Yes, it's a car, it's a house, it's this, it's that, things that are material, where success in its truest form, it could mean any number of things. If
Mhm.
it is that you
Yes.
are encountering a person and they are fulfilled and content with that person is successful,
Yep.
who are we to then look and saying, but motho na ha apara label, they're not wearing branded clothing, they're not driving a fancy car, but is this person living? Is this person having a full human experience? Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
they are, and they have no regrets. They are not now out there looking for the things that they don't have. They are present in the moment, and but I have come across
Yeah.
them myself, and it made me question, you know, when we sit down in our individuality and we say, I want to be successful, what are you saying to yourself? Actually, we never ask ourselves that question. It is all because we then put pictures to that word that success to me means I have enough money to afford a lifestyle, or to afford the things that I want. Do you ever have enough money to afford the things that you, because it's a trap? In essence, you will always be chasing. There will never come a point outright whereby you are having that exact amount of money to do exactly what it is that you want. As an example,
Yeah.
going back to the point, we
Before
we
you
we, we
pass it,
really
before you pass this point that you just said now, I'm also learning something that, you know, I think it's the poverty mentality again,
mm,
that success meant moving from location, four-roomed house to town,
mm,
and owning a townhouse that, no, you don't even own. The bank borrowed it to you.
owns
You
it.
don't
Yes.
own it.
Mm,
You have a car. You can go on holiday. All of those things, the
mm-hmm,
material things.
mm,
But again, like we are five, the five of us.
mm-hmm,
For me, now as the older one, I don't remember ever sitting down with you guys and asking you what would success look like to you.
mm-hmm,
To you, I've
mm,
always defined your success based on what I viewed as success.
mm,
But
mm.
and do you see, this is another thing why we find ourselves in trouble or
Yes.
sitting and being bitter, because
Yes.
you're busy trying to drag people to the level where that you have put for them when.
Mm-hmm,
Whereas this person is content, like you're saying, that person is content with being in. And I look at, you know, one of my aunts, for example, who I love so much, and how this woman is so happy, like happy.
akashoti
In
next
fact,
ne.
several of them, they
Mm,
built Sentin, they built Centurion, staying in their four-roomed houses, or even three-roomed houses.
mm.
They are fine being there. They made it. To them, they are successful.
Why? Understand?
So, because sometimes we have this picture that we have ourselves, we busy trying to drag people, and it's again what learned behaviors, learned
Yes.
behaviors. So what you are saying is so profound, and I'm actually gonna post a question at the end of when we end this live. I'm coming to the groups, and I'm gonna ask you guys that question because it's a question that was never asked. Or
Ish.
what does success look like to you guys? Because now you are grown as men and women, and you have your own vision of what success is to you. And it might not be the same as mine. It might not,
Why woman? And for me,
Exactly.
with the my realization of this is that the sooner two parties, for an example, start getting into that supposed flow of saying, okay, I understand Hore, you only go up to as far as this, and I go as far as that. Once that happens, innately common ground now is you start now coming to that, and without you really through interaction to say, because you would have understood, okay, and I won't put it as limitations, that this container only holds 2 liters, the other container holds 10 liters, together they make 12 liters together. Sharp. The other one can carry more than the other, but it is not to saying that the one is important than the other. They are both
Yeah.
important because they are
Yes.
carrying something. Why
Yeah.
you get it?
Yeah.
If we can work it in that way to say, and yes, start now asking ourselves and those that we are in relation with to say, what is your definition of success? In earnest,
Yes.
without
Yes.
pretense, and listening, and then you relaying, saying that my definition of success is this. Slowly,
Yeah.
you will start now building towards common ground, towards an equilibrium that is going to be now beneficial to you, because you will find that actually coming to that understanding elevates now the both of you
Yes.
far more than you would have
Yeah.
gone individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very true.
we we, 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 we we need to stop fearing, because I would like to believe that the greatest hurdle or obstacle that our generation and the generations before us faced was that of fear. If I talk about my feelings, I am going to be perceived as this. The supposedly crazy ones, or the black sheep in the family, were the ones that wore their hearts on their sleeves. I do not like what is going on in this house because it makes me feel XYZ.
Yeah.
Hi, o
Yeah.
bua haholo
Yeah.
ono. Hey, o botsa dipotso tse ngata. No, that is the soul or the spirit that was sent into that family to shake it up
Yeah.
and start asking those questions. So some of us have denied ourselves or have given away that right, that birthright that we had to being that rattler. Why? Because so many times you've been put down. So many times you have been talked down to and have been told that you are not worthy. How dare you? Where na omang to come and question what is going on in the family. You are the person who was sent to change that family.
Yeah. And
So let's,
yeah.
continue, sister Zorima.
Yeah, and also in that what you are saying, not that others did not have questions or didn't want to ask them, uh, because of what we've always said, families, in inside our homes, we do not create safe spaces
Uh-huh.
for our children to ask questions that they want to ask, or
Yes.
for the discussions that we need to have
Ah,
to actually happen. And for
Bona
me, I
point, I'll
think,
make sorry to put a point on that.
mm,
When you talk about safe spaces, I remember the conversation that my mother and I had, the supposed talk,
mm,
and this is how it went verbatim. If you bring a child into my house, you are going out because you are a man now. So it is on you. Wa bona ha ke ba o ska tontlela le ngwana hobane so already now you have fear installed. I have fear installed into me. I had my first child 33, and the chat happened when I was what 16 17 if I'm not mistaken. So for that long I operated based off of fear. How you child before marriage, what am I going to do? Because now I have to face this lady and she's gonna tear me a new one. But I'm a man, I'm a grown man. I'm capable of having a child and supporting them. But because now if untlela le ngwana o tswa ka haka, it's stuck there as a simple example. So that
I
we
want,
don't
I must do
understand that.
a, yeah, I must actually do a study on this. Because also, as you are talking now, it was her famous word,
Mm,
and I think these things, just like my master's topic, where I did beliefs of farm workers, and
mm,
there were beliefs that were protecting them from contacting HIV, and there were beliefs that were harmful. So even with our parents, it's gonna be very interesting.
mm.
What are those famous things that they used to say, and then look at those that protected us from certain things and those that were harmful? Because
Mm-hmm.
hindsight for me, I'm grateful for that saying. It was scary, yes, but I'm grateful because it made sure that I do not even look at boys until I could, or even think of having a child until I could afford a child. And when I
Yeah.
was actually out of the house, not even
Inside.
so, I
Mm,
would
mm.
run away, like run. I always say, if a boy would just kiss me, kuphelile, done, kuphelile, because now I'm not gonna have a child and be chased away from home. So
Yeah, it should be.
it was a learned saying, that ile yadula, it stuck in my mind.
Yeah,
So
the nature
bottom
part
line,
now. Yeah.
yes, what we are saying is children don't just hear what we are saying, they also watch. They
Mm-hmm.
watch the
Mm.
behaviors. That's how they learn. Most of the time, it's not even by just watching. It's also in
Yes.
repetition.
Repetition, yes.
That's why in school, when they go to crèche, if you ever visit their crèches, they are being taught the same thing
Mm.
over a number of weeks. And you were like, Ma, why are they taught the same thing? Because repetition, it's how we learn as human beings.
Yes.
The same,
Creatures of
and
habit.
most of the time, even as adults, we learn by repetition, by watching. Oh, I see this person doing this. Okay, then the imprint, the memory, it gets puts in the memory. Now the last one, generational trauma. We've set the scene. We've set the scene on the different things, nature versus nature, the DNA, and all of that. Now, generational trauma. So this is not just about what happened. It's not about that. But it's also about what never happened. What is it that I never heard growing up? I never heard I love you. I never heard I'm proud of you. I never heard I'm sorry. I never heard how are you really doing? You know,
And sometimes it's not even about the hearing, even physical things, hugging
Yeah.
motho.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
that close touch to affirm that I am with you, or whatever. You never experienced that. When someone does it too, because now you experienced it in a different way, to you it's interpreted as being something else.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. Because we tend, like I say, a lot of times when we talk about these things, it's often that we focus on the most obvious things, the said,
Yeah.
the unsaid, but we don't talk about those other things that are not so obvious. Did
Yeah.
your did you cuddle with your people? Did you play with, or did your parents play with you?
Yes.
um you
Yeah.
know a
Yeah.
human interaction in its entirety. What was it like? Because yes, you might not have heard I love you, but the parent made you feel it by through contact, constantly hugging you, constantly giving you kisses, physical touch, that sort of thing. Because as we are saying, they were human as well, and they used the best means or best resources that they had available to them to
Yeah.
express or to show. So uh we whatever it may be, guys, this is what we are talking about. We're not just talking about the hearing of things. We're also
Yeah.
talking about the seeing.
They're seeing. Yes.
Did they show up
Yeah.
for a special something? Yeah, how it was a play, or it was a sports event, or it was, or whatever, and they said they would come. You are anticipating to see them, they didn't show up, mhlambe, or they came late after your part, but they were there for that sort of thing. Yeah, affecta, yeah, affecta, to put it simply, all the five senses, including the sixth,
Yes.
are
Yeah.
impacted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
however you like Dr. Rainey is saying, the things that were said and those that were unsaid,
We're not sad.
or
Yes.
the things that were seen or unseen, that were
Yes.
touched and untouched,
Yeah.
tasted,
Yeah.
untasted, swap the entire thing,
Yeah.
confront it.
Growing up,
Yeah.
growing up, love was acts of service. That's what love was. Growing up, acts of service. I cook for you. I clean for you. You have clothes. You are going to school. I pay for your school fees. Love was the act of service, and
Acts of, yes.
that's what love was for me growing up, and even as an adult. I remember when my child was still very young. One time she wanted my attention, and I was like saying to her, "What do you want? Because I'm giving you the best of life. You're
Yeah.
going to the best school. Going with a car to school. You don't have to walk. You are wearing the best clothes. You go buy wherever you want to buy. So what do you want for me? What do you want?
Yeah.
Because
Sister, hey. Yeah, when you talk like that, ne, you've just spoken, ne, you've just touched a thing that many parents in this generation are complaining about. Ngwana ona na ompatla eng. I give this child everything, this and that
yeah,
and that and that. But as a
yeah,
parent, as a guardian, are you
yeah,
aware that you are rattling off material things? Have you sat
yeah,
down with this child
yeah,
and actually listened to them? Have you sat down to this child and asked them,
yeah,
tell me about
exactly.
you? No,
Yeah.
you will find that often the answer is no. I have not done that. I
Know the
and it
person,
will
the
be a thing
human.
of I know my child. So nobody can. Or do you know your child? Or
Do
do
you
you
know
know
your
what you
child?
see?
Yeah,
Or do you know
yeah,
what you see? What
yeah.
they choose to show you, because
To show
a
a head,
child is still a human being,
yeah.
and whether they would have seen something or not, they have it in them to do it. You will say,
Very
this
true.
child doesn't know how to lie. I see
Yeah,
it with my 3-year-old. I don't know, like I can say I don't know, but somewhere, somehow, he experienced it or encountered it somewhere that if I say this, I will get this. But it's
yeah,
contrary to the truth. It's a lie. And
yeah,
here and you go, it's a little white lie, but it's still a lie. Like, what is going on? It's that, guys. They hear,
yeah.
they see, they
Yes,
observe
yes,
the body language. So for you to saying that, I don't understand what is going on with this child, means that you weren't paying attention, shame, or you are not paying
yeah.
attention.
Simple,
It's just as
simple,
simple as that. So
simple.
can we stop the like drop the whole pretenses and start having conversations with each other in our households? Because I am thinking that once we start doing that and opening up to each other without saying, hi, but they're gonna judge me because they're in a what a higher position, or they are more educated than me, they might not understand me because I am educated, I'm having to simplify my language. Leave all of that crap at the door. You are talking to people that you share blood
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Your
And children
if
are human too.
yes,
They are
exact. If
human.
you don't,
Yeah.
and for me, it's always been a thing. You are aware there is no safe space in your home. Why not create it? Start simple. It starts simple. You
And
don't
it's
have
not up to
to.
you as well. It's also not up to you because, we also have this concept that when you're a parent, you're supposed to know everything. No, guys,
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
also learning as you go by.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I had to learn, and I asked her, "What do you want?" Luckily, I had a very open relationship with her. So she told me, I want your time. I don't care
Mm,
about all of these things that you are giving me. I want your time. And now, even after leaving the marriage, she became more in need of safety, emotional
mhm,
safety than any
mhm.
other time. And her only ask was, give me time and make time, or once a week, let's have time, me and you, where it's just me and you. Because
Yeah, yes.
again, even during that time, I had filled my table with other people,
Mm,
where
mm,
she knows she's the only child, but she has to share with other people. So her only ask was, give me time. Once a week, give me time. Once a year, let's go away, just me and you, no other people. So I had to respect that, to create that safe space for her, because I didn't know. I did
mm,
not have the answer.
mm,
So And all I needed to do was to be true to my promise. I
Yeah.
had to learn to hug, guys. Hugging for
Yeah,
me
but I
was a
understand.
struggle, very big struggle.
No, I
But
take that back.
through allowing myself to unlearn, because
Yes.
there's
Aha.
epigenetics. I relearned the behaviors that I had learned. And I was surprised the other day. I can't remember where I was, and I get into that room. Everybody passes, and I say to the people we find there, "Oh no, I'm a hugger." Like even now, I had to revisit, and I say, "Nah, me." I now tell people I'm a hugger. Nah.
Why, Tlhaloga?
So that's an achievement for me. It's
Yes.
a big achievement.
The ability
And
to change. We have it,
yeah,
all of
and to
us.
take accountability and responsibility, because as an adult now, I cannot, the card of blaming parents, it has expired. It has
Yes.
actually lost its
Uh,
taste.
there's an yes.
Itapile,
Very true.
itapile. I
There's a
cannot
expiration
continue.
date. Mm.
Yeah, I can't continue to throw that card anymore. Now it's up to me. Whatever
Yeah.
I decide to stick with or to stay with, especially after seeing Hore, it's up to me. I can undo everything that I do not like, that I have learned. Well,
Yes.
I don't have an excuse. And here I am. I now hug without thinking. Kinda before I had to think, guys. If
Think.
I had to hug somebody, I had to think. You will laugh and think, Mara, how can that be? I really had to.
And also, guys, ne, this is what we are saying, ne, it's not a new thing. For those of you who read the Bible and follow the faith, there is a scripture in there. I think it was what, Peter, or who was it? Yeah, one of the who was. Okay, look, I understand that this is a sin. I I fully I'm conscious of it. Inkinga manje ukuthi umzimba.
Yeah.
So I do it not because I want to do it. It's now become that survival thing, and that's
Yeah.
where now the question becomes, why are you still in survival mode?
Yeah.
Is it because, yes, legitimately you are needing to survive? You are in a situation that requires for you to act in such a manner? Or is it a thing that you are holding on to that happened that is still
Yes.
keeping the nervous system triggered to saying, oh, no,
Yeah.
the war is not over. Aluta continua.
Yeah. And it's
That's
a
now the question.
choice. Yeah.
And it's
And
a
it's a
choice,
choice.
guys. Like
Yeah.
Dr. Rain is saying that, look, at a certain point, there comes a point whereby the blame card, whatever card, however it may look like, it reaches its expiry date. And now
Yeah.
it's a thing that
Yeah.
you have taken on and it's become your identity. Whereas you have 4 limbs, now all of a sudden you have a 5th artificial limb of
Yeah.
depression that was caused by
Yeah.
supposedly your parent. But no, you've decided to attach it to you. You have
Yeah.
decided
Yes.
that I'm keeping
Yes.
this limb.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Why I understand.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we are
Mm-hmm.
not saying or being insensitive to the fact that there are traumas that we have experienced. Instead, what we are trying to convey here is that, like everything else, guys, you have
Unpack.
the choice to change it
Yeah.
or to
And
stay
unpack it.
with it.
Unpack it. Unpack it.
Exactly.
Libuda.
Exactly. Because
Open
as
the
soon as you
book.
take
Yeah.
the choice to saying that I want this to change, it means that that choice comes with you having to dive deeper and
Yeah.
understanding what it is that you are changing, because
Yes.
fundamentally you understand that there is something that is wrong, but you don't
Yes.
have the full details as to exactly where
Yeah.
it is. So by that virtue alone, you saying I want the situation to change means that you are saying I am going in deeper. And that's when
Yeah.
now we lose it, because
Yeah.
obviously this thing has been festering. This energy has been there for quite a while, and
Yeah.
it is going to take some work to get rid of. Okay, kebe wa chesa pizza ya papa hangata ngata, and then you're expecting on the first scrub you're going to get it right. It's a lie, guys. It's
Yeah.
a
And
lie.
and
So
be
it takes work.
willing. Be willing to visit the to first you're gonna dig. First,
Yes.
you're going to
And
dig
you're going,
that grave.
yes.
You're
And
going to dig
before
it.
you recognize that it why it's again ne, be it gold or a diamond or whatever, you will find it will be hard. Then you have
Yes,
to pull it out.
exactly, Gogo.
It's not go
Exactly.
once you've pulled it out, the work is not done, because you are having to clean
Mm-mm.
it first to
Yes.
understand exactly what am I working with. And then
Yes.
you are cutting away now the
Mm.
imperfections, the
Mm.
parts that are not needed. That's now you dealing with directly. Hore, my sister, you did this to me on this and it made me feel like this. That's you cutting away. Now you're starting to shape this diamond and expose it for the beauty that it is. It's going
Yeah.
to take work, guys. It
It
takes
takes
a
work.
lot of work.
It takes work
And
and it takes accountability.
yes, you can't
And
quit
yeah,
halfway.
with
You can't quit
trauma
on the
as
first
well.
hit.
With trauma, I need to warn people as well. When you are dealing with issues, even your own traumas that you picked up, now it's worth with generational ones.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we spoke about DNA. We
Yeah.
spoke about DNA. So at some stage there are things that are in your imprint that you are not aware you are one with. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine now if it's generational, like we normally say with hypertension and diabetes. Go higher batho ba de- So imagine like Bohali, for example. Yeah, Bohali. I give a story anger. I get it.
Aggression.
Aggression ne
Mm.
to be batho bao ba kgarumang ba
Mm.
rasang. It's generational. You don't even see. I call
Mm.
it being one with your trauma.
Yes.
And it matures, like you are saying. At some stage, it even becomes manipulative. At some
Yes.
stage it even be it changes, it goes, like I made an example with a beer cot. Now this child takes this beer cot from the case, and now
Mm-hmm.
they have to lie that they took it, and now they've stolen. So you're no longer dealing with this court. You are now dealing with three things. And this is how these generational things become. They keep on growing, they keep on expanding. They go and get other behaviors. You now dealing with this entanglement of a whole lot of things, plus the ones that you have picked up. So it's a whole lot of work. And that's why people end up accepting, hey, na ke motho wa bohale. O motho wa bohale wang? Why must you accept that? Hore nna ke bohale? No, it's wrong, because you are chasing people away from you. And as we're about to close, let me go to, because we like visiting the Black Book, and I will go to the Bible. The Bible has a whole lot of examples of these generational patterns. Some people passed down faith. like Abraham. You see in the book of Hebrews 11, when you read Hebrews 11, you see this pattern, this generational pattern of how faith was passed from one generation to the other. And mind you, many years ago, there was no Bible as a book. It wasn't there. So how faith was passed down from one generation to the other, it was through stories. We're sitting down and telling people about what people have gone through. So it was passed down that way. Others passed down violence. When you look at Jacob, for example, how his daughter eventually was violated against, and then it went to the sons, So this thing became generational. David himself, that we so love, King David, the man after God's own heart, how as a father, failing to address what he was supposed to address when, his own daughter went through an experience. Then he failed to address that. And here he finds himself fighting with his son, and even judgment being passed against him to say a sword will never leave this house. So there are those generational. Others passed down idolatry. I recently even got to learn the reason why Abraham was told to leave his people, his country, to go to a new country, another one. God was somehow psychologically removing him from a place of idolatry, because he knew Abraham hana chance mo. His father is an idolater. The whole nation is like they worship idols. So I need to remove him from here. The Israelites, why God went to fetch them and get them out of Egypt, because they were now worshiping those gods. So and why they even had to travel for 40 years, because Egypt had to be taken out of them. They had lost their identity so much that they had even forgotten who they were. And this happens to us as well, guys. It does happen to us, where you are so one with your trauma. There is no difference between you and it. And even generationally. Things like striving, hardships. We idolize and worship hardship so much that we don't even think we don't even think there is another life outside that, because all we know is hardship, all we know is striving, but it's up to you, guys. That's the beauty about it. It's you have a choice. You have a choice. And even in the Bible, we are given that hope in Ezekiel, that the one who sins is the one who will die. There is that hope. The child will not share the guilt of the parent, nor will the parent share the guilt of the child. So there is that hope. Epigenetics helps us with that. You do not have to inherit the things that your parents gave you. Yes, you've inherited them, but you don't have to stay that way. You can make a choice, because it's not the parent who will take your guilt, nor you who will take the guilt of the parent. So we have a choice. We really have a choice. And if you want to, unpack this, you can't do it on your own as well. You need a help. And you know that we always avail ourselves, book that appointment to start your journey, and have somebody walking with you through that journey. And I think those are my last words, Uncle Chi, as you close.
Doctor, thank you for, you know, you and I, we always have um deep conversations, even when it's the two of us, in our private setting. Um, I wish that we, and the viewers and the audience in their private spaces engage in more of these conversations, opening up, those supposed cans of worms that they've been fearing to, go near in the fear of I might be misunderstood or I might be stepping on, people's toes. You know, stri- striving to create a safe space to be yourself,
Yeah.
truly outside of the masks, the many, images that we put on to operate and function in the world. It gets tiring sometimes. So
Yeah.
can we strive for, when we say success, can it mean something other than material, in terms of I'm successful because I have peace. I'm successful because I am content with my life and the way that it is. Can you know can we hype that up and build that up, instead of I'm successful because I have a seven bedroom house with 5 bathrooms. We've done that and it hasn't worked. Can we try something else?
Yeah. And if
Mm.
that's what success is, according to you, fine. Don't
Fair,
make it a
yes,
standard for
absolutely.
everyone. Let it
Everybody
not be a
else,
standard for everyone. And for me,
and it's good on you. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's
very
my
much so, sister. Yeah.
takeaway. That's my takeaway.
So riske ra
Yeah.
tshabang, guys. Let's be intentional about our journeys, as you always say, Doctor. Let's be intentional now and not be passive, because we've been passive long enough. Now let's start being intentional. That's my closing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, audience, for your time.
Yeah. And we are all about awareness, awareness, awareness. That's what this whole conversation was all about. It was
As
about
fuck.
awareness.
And
And
fuck.
as we walk our own journey and ask ourselves these questions, we want to take you to also experience that and not just be in the dark. Because, yes, darkness is good. I love darkness because if it wasn't because of darkness, I would not be this talkative and bringing all these things. So, darkness helps me to bring the light.
Yebo, love the darkness just as you love the light, and you will see a change in your life.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Away,
Love you.
people.
And have a blessed one. I think next week, Uncle T is the one coming. I'll see
Yes.
you, I think, in the third week when we continue with the series. Thank you and have a
Yeah.
blessed afternoon. If you miss this or you want somebody to watch it, it will be uploaded on YouTube. And bye, bye,
Bye
bye.
bye, guys. Bye bye. Catch you on Thursday, 7 p.m. for Machita. Don't miss it. We're gonna be talking about the level Machita, in that the legend. We addressed the man, now we're addressing the myth. Hey hey munna indotamast, hey hey. So yeah, join us. See you next week, guys. Have a great one and love you all. Away.
Amen. Thank you.